Alright everyone, welcome to my official travel video. The video I've been talking about for the last, 2 or 3 months? I think? Maybe? I can't remember. But this video is going to be done in a bit of a different way. So I'm going to be doing this video in a voiceover style. So not a vlog style travel video. For a few reasons. Number one, I've just grown tired of vlog-style travel videos. Ever since the whole Logan Paul thing, I've just grown tired of them. I was actually inspired to do it this way from a YouTuber by the name of Goodnight Moon, whom is an ASMR YouTuber, actually, for any of those of you who are into that kind of thing. And she did a travel video, I believe back in February, where she traveled to, I believe it was Portland, Oregon, and Boston, Massachusetts, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I've seen the video, so my memory's not that good. And I really liked how she did hers. I thought the ASMR style, like the whispering, combined with the types of music she chose to use, I think it made for a very good video. I really liked it. It was basically my two favorite things. A travel video that helped me go to sleep. Okay, but no, it's really good. I'll link it down in the description so you can check it out. So thank you to Goodnight Moon for inspiring me to do a travel video. So what you see now is just some general go-to footage. So this is footage of the trip down to our destination. And I decided to cut this down into a more manageable length, as the original footage uncut was very long, because I basically took a video of everything I saw, so I'd have a good amount of footage. So I cut this down into the more interesting parts, into some of the more interesting things that we saw, because for any of those of you who do interstate travel, you'll know interstate travel is very basic. It's very monotonous and very plain, or at least in Alabama it is. If you're in Alabama and you do interstate travel, everything pretty much looks the same. There's no real scenic anything. So, here we are in a place called Freemanville, Alabama, as some of you may be able to see on the water tower there. And the reason why I put this was because, one, we just came over the interstate and saw this random water tower, and as you can see here, we also saw this random, very tall building in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a very sparsely populated area. It just sort of comes out of the woods there. And we later found out that this was a casino, a Native American run casino, because that's how they do it here in Alabama. As you see, Wind Creek Casino. Here we are in Mobile County, which is close to the Alabama Gulf Coast. And if any of those of you are familiar with the Alabama Gulf Coast, or any sort of southern Gulf Coast, or the Gulf Coast in general, you will know that it is very flat, it's very plain, but very green at the same time. And you will also know that there are a lot of waterways, such as this, which is the Tombigbee River. And, as a matter of fact, the Tombigbee River is so large, in fact, as you see here, it is so large that it actually goes under the highway overpasses here. So I pretty much figured we were roughly 20 to 30 feet from the water here, at the lowest point, which may or may not be terrifying to some of you if you have a fear of water, or a fear of drowning. Here we have a bridge that we came across, or it's sort of a bridge. Technically, this is all still interstate overpass, but also technically a bridge because it does go over several rivers. But I decided to shoot this because I thought it was a very interesting looking, bridge, and the arches were very interesting. And in a moment, you will see us go under the little arches here. And I'm not exactly sure why they chose to do this, unless it was because it was over water and therefore it offered more support, or maybe just for aesthetics, I don't know. But as you can see, it was a very cool little bridge. and it was very cool to go underneath it and all of that. And you see here the landscape ahead of us is very green and flat and plain, much like I described. So here we are going through a suburb and CDP, or census designated place, called Tillman's Corner, which is a suburb, once again, of Mobile, Alabama. And it has a population of roughly 18,000. And I must say, it's a quite nice little place. It has all of the shops and restaurants you could want. So here, Mobile Bay is on one side, and the Mississippi Sound / Gulf of Mexico is on the other, I think. Despite the fact that I was looking at my GPS the entire time, I'm not very good at geography or anything like that, so I wouldn't exactly know. But there is water on both sides of us, as you see. And what I thought was a cool little thing, if you can see it, on the left side here, on the left side of the screen, you can see these little rocky sort of faces, or rocky bumps, or whatever you may call them. And I'm not sure if those were put there to keep cars from going off the road into the water, or if they were just put there for aesthetic purposes. But I thought it made it look very scenic. It made it look very much seaside-like. Granted, this is also called Alabama Scenic Highway, which is the stretch we are on right now. So now we are on the Gordon Parsons Bridge, which connects mainland Alabama to our destination. And a fun fact, this very bridge is not even that old. Originally, the bridge was built in 1956 and was destroyed by a hurricane in 1979, then rebuilt in 1982. So from 79 to 82, roughly a 3 to 4 year stretch, there was no bridge. And if I am not mistaken, this very bridge is roughly 3 miles long, I believe. 3 to 4 miles long. So here is the, I'll say, town outline of our destination, which I will reveal in a few seconds. Our destination of Dauphin Island, Alabama, which is just what it says. It is an island, specifically a barrier island, and an incorporated town, which incorporated in 1988, with roughly 1,278 people as of the 2016 census, or maybe it's the 2010 census, one of the two. Here we are, looking at the Gulf of Mexico. So, I won't give away our exact location of where we were, because I don't want to do that. But I will say the location where we were staying was right on the beach, looking straight at the ocean, more or less. And yes, it was a very cool view to wake up to. So, on the day of arrival, we decided to grill a few things on the grills you see here, including this little bucket grill my mother picked up at a Lowe's for $10 because it was kind of cool. So, on our first official day of the vacation, we decided to check out Fort Gaines, which is on Dauphin Island, on the easternmost point of the island. And Fort Gaines was a Civil War era fort, which was one of two on Mobile Bay, which were responsible and crucial for the defense of Mobile Bay in the eponymous Battle of Mobile Bay, fought during August of 1864, which was one of the last major naval confrontations of the Civil War. So this is just some footage I wanted to take of the town area as we were heading towards the island. And like I said earlier, this is on the eastern side of the island, which is the more populated area. Now the other fort, Fort Morgan, which unfortunately we were not able to visit this time around, that fort is in nearby Gulf Shores, Alabama, another beachside city. These are a few cannons they had at the entrance to the fort, which I'm not sure if they are replicas or original cannons that have been restored. I'm not sure. My family here. Don't we all look like a bunch of tourists? This is the entranceway to the fort with the original brick and original foundation and such, which I thought was cool. This is an anchor from the USS Hartford, which was Admiral David Farragut's flagship vessel, which was present when he uttered his supposed famous words, "Damn the torpedoes! Full speed ahead!" Okay, I actually don't know if Farragut sounded like that. I don't think so. I don't know why I gave him that voice. I was trying to sound old-timey, okay? Get off my back. So what you're going to see next are some shots of various rooms. This appeared to be just a general sleeping quarters room. Evident by the fireplace and the old-style bed. Here is another bedding room, also with a fireplace. My brother on his phone. The quartermaster building, which was used to hand out supplies such as bedding, hygiene supplies, and other such things, aside from ammunition, because all of the ammunition was stored at a different part in the fort. Here is another bedding room with old-style beds. This is a little staircase that I thought looked pretty cool through the old glass here. This was a staircase we were not able to go up because it led to an unstable part of the fort, which they had blocked off. But I thought it looked cool nonetheless. This is the battery Stanton, where the disappearing cannons, as they were called, were held. And they were called disappearing cannons because they would be raised above the fort's walls to be fired at incoming Union ships, and then they would be lowered below the walls to be reloaded. So if you were an attacking Union vessel, all you would see would be cannons appearing, firing, and then disappearing below the fort. Hence the name Disappearing Cannons. A little smokestack. So what you're going to see now are some various shots of newspaper clippings, schematics, telegrams, and even some handwritten letters. And these particular letters were written by a group of soldiers from Indiana. This is a list of the both Union and Confederate commands. This is a part of a ship's rudder that was found 30 miles off the shore of Dauphin Island by a shrimping boat. As you can see, it is made of wood and steel. This is a rib section of a ship. Here is the first part. This is the second larger part. These are some tracks that we noticed that we are not sure what they're for, but I thought it would be a funny idea to do like a tracking shot, sort of as if you were moving on them. This is a little back room. A set of stairs you were able to go up that led to the top of the fort. This is a room with various items. This is the fort's bakery, evident by the two large old-style ovens, which were much larger than they look. A little exhaust. This is a room we still believed to be a barracks room, evident by all of the beds and the fireplace. The top of the fort. One of 4 cannons on the top of the fort, used to defend from incoming Union ships. This is the Mobile Bay Ferry, which takes passengers and their vehicles to nearby Fort Morgan. This is the latrine, which over 400 men used daily. The second of 4 cannons. A little plaque talking about Admiral David Farragut and providing definitive proof that Farragut did actually utter his famous words. This is an impact from the USS Chickasaw, which you can't see very well, but it is there. This is the outside of the officers' kitchen, as the officers were often far more well-fed than the regular troops, as evidenced by the intricate pottery and both the cooking fireplace and the oven. This is actually a museum that is part of the fort. This particular display is of various identification insignia, such as identification for various units. This is a uniform that belonged to a Colonel W.L. Timberlake, of no relation to Justin Timberlake, I assume, but I could be wrong. And he ran a Lee Camp Confederate Soldiers' Home, a collection of various artillery shells and fragments, various kinds of weaponry, including 2 ginger beer bottles, which was a widely consumed beverage at the time by soldiers of both sides, various kinds of weapon rounds, a Shingle shell fired exclusively by the Union Navy, a leather cartridge box, various kinds of bayonets, including an Austrian bayonet, as both sides used European firearms, various mannequins dressed to appear as the various sides, this one being a Confederate soldier, specifically from the 21st Alabama Infantry, whom were stationed at Fort Gaines. This is a Union soldier from the U.S. Infantry Volunteers Unit. This is the room dedicated to life on Dauphin Island in the 1930s, long before incorporation. And the island was so sparsely populated that local villagers would take their livestock to graze on the various grasses on the island. These are various weapons from the time period and various photos. This is a mannequin that looks suspiciously like Angelina Jolie, but that might just be me. So next we headed to the Audubon Bird Sanctuary, which is both a bird and plant sanctuary for various bird species and plant species in the Mobile Delta, including both of the longleaf and the slash pine, of which I had never heard of until I saw it here. A plaque talking about various types of foreign invasive plant species. A species of said invasive species of plants. The various types of animals of the Audubon Bird Sanctuary. These adorable little turtles, who seem to want food, as people seem to have been feeding them. So, this lake is apparently quite full of alligators. Yes, alligators. The American alligator, although we never saw any of them. Along with snakes, fish, and various turtle species. These are some burned out trees that we happen to notice, which appear to be left over from a recent fire. So, for day 2, we headed to the estuarium, which is what I'll call a miniature aquarium, which is part of the Dauphin Island Sea Lab. I also caught this little guy here, just chilling out, minding in his own business. Oh, off he goes. A plaque talking about the various types of aquatic species of the Mobile Delta, including 9 ray species, 2 skate, and 17 shark species. These are some little models they had hanging up of prehistoric creatures. A turtle made out of cigarette butts. Various types of fossils and rocks and other such collected from the Mobile Delta.
All others that we know. But the so-called blue planet is only 1/10 of 1% water, with a thin layer of mostly salt water covering over 70% of the surface of the Earth. 200 million years ago, the North American continent began to separate from the original.
This is a gray rat snake. The adorable green tree frog. Various kinds of little fish. This is part of the stingray feeding that the aquarium holds, which is also a touch tank where you can touch said rays. But do not worry, the rays have their stingers trimmed, so they no longer have the ability to sting you. Various kinds of fish. Various kinds of corals and fish. Oh, by the way, I found Nemo. Swimming contently in his tank. Yellow tube coral. Other various kinds of fish. The ever-majestic seahorse, of whom this one was the only kind in his tank, yet he seems to be having a good time. A lobster, whom is apparently trying to escape his enclosure. This is a Gulf flounder, or southern flounder. The red snapper, of which I can understand why they cost so much to buy. The comb jellyfish, floating aimlessly in his tank. An octopus, which seemed to be a bit camera shy, so I wasn't able to get much of him except for his tentacle here. It also took me a while to focus on him. There he is. And my favorite particular part, which was the lionfish, yet these seemed oblivious to my presence. This fish is supposed to look like this. He is not dead. He is simply feeding. This is a great blue heron. I caught this little guy trying to sneak up on me whilst I was fishing. I just happened to turn around and here he was. Here he is, silently stalking his prey, and he is a great blue heron, which is a year-round bird, meaning you can see them here year-round, and off he goes, hunting for more and more fish. So, day 3 ended up being quite the nasty weather day, as you can see here. And we decided to visit the USS Alabama, which you will see later. Here we are in downtown Mobile, which is Alabama's 4th largest city, with a population of roughly 192,000. And I thought this was a cool little shot of downtown Mobile, so I decided to pull out my camera and record. This is a little tunnel that goes under downtown Mobile. So I sped up this part because it would have taken far too long to show in full, and I didn't think you guys really cared. So here we are at the USS Alabama, which served in several battles in World War II, but like I said is now a memorial ship, a museum ship, and whatever else you may wish to call it. She was one of the largest ships in her class at the time. And these are just some of the various guns on board, such as aircraft guns, anti-ship guns, and other such very heavy armaments. This is a map of the various locations the Alabama has been to throughout her life. So, this is the inside of the ship, which this particular room was very cramped and warm. We suspected this to be an engine room, perhaps. An old telephone.
Oh, like a dial tone. Oh, yeah.
A various roster of officers of the ship, which you could manually move. And a little fun fact, the USS Alabama is said to be supposedly haunted. This is a various collection of the ship's battle stars, which I had to roughly quickly edit together to show all of. These are a collection of various scale models of various ships. This is some signed memorabilia by baseball player Bob Feller, who was one of the fastest pitchers in the sport at the time. This is a signed bat. These are some exhibits with some rather creepy mannequins, made even creepier by the fact that the ship is supposedly haunted. This is the captain's cabin, evidenced by the more ornate plating. A little bedroom. And this light here was not flickering as bad as it seems. The flag lounge, which I had to film sideways to get all of. Another little bathroom type area. The flag plot. Another view of the flag plot. Another little room area. The battle bridge, through which most combat operations were conducted. The sea captain's cabin. Another little room with what appears to be era actress Rita Hayworth on the wall there. What appears to be some sort of room, perhaps a junk room. The aerological office. A little room that I thought had a cool little view, so I decided to take some shots in there as well. A scale model of the USS Alabama, as it would have appeared in that era. A little display containing weapons of the Japanese Empire. Some more creepy mannequins. I was kind of expecting the last mannequin to turn his head. This little guy, which I caught perched on top of a part of the ship, and this is a least tern, a type of seabird found in the Mobile Delta. This is the Medal of Honor Aircraft Pavilion, which is the aircraft museum filled with various aircrafts from various time periods, including Alabama's own famous Tuskegee Airmen. As you see here, they fought in various battles in World War II, various kinds of aircraft, including surveillance aircraft, attack aircraft, and aircraft from both the Cold War and World War II eras. Now this is a list of POWs, specifically from Alabama. And there is one specifically from my original hometown of Hueytown, Alabama, whom unfortunately was never recovered. These are some exhibits attempting to depict the kind of conditions that said POWs were kept in. This is a scale model of the USS Drum, a submarine, which is also permanently moored here at the Battleship Memorial Park. And this is the real USS Drum, which I did not get a chance to go on board of because it had started raining again by that point, and I did not want my camera to get wet or me to get wet in general. I felt like it would be kind of difficult to maneuver up there with an umbrella in my hand. and a camera in the other. So this is a rather sweet and heartwarming photo I saw in an exhibit talking about Captain Jeremiah Denton, whom was taken POW from 1965 to 1973. And this specifically is a picture of he and Jane Denton embracing after his release from captivity. Here is our friend, the great blue heron. Apparently not very interested in bait squid, which I was using as fish bait that day, whom we came to find out later was actually named George, and who is the resident blue heron. So, meet George the great blue heron. So, on our final 2 days of the trip, we decided to visit several of the various shops on the town of Dauphin Island, and the shops included the Treasure Trove, which is where I bought both a mug and a shirt, and other stores included the Hippie Fish, which I thought was a very cool name, and the Silver Pearl, which I also thought was a cool name, and where the owner had both a pet turtle and a dog. I caught this little guy sitting outside on the railing after a particularly vicious rainstorm. I'm not exactly sure what he is. This is during said rainstorm. This is a little water spout that I happened to catch video of during our day of departure, and I decided to include it because I thought it was pretty cool. That was our day of departure and our last day of the trip. I would recommend this to anyone who is familiar with the Gulf Coast, or anyone who has never been to the Gulf Coast, or anyone who would like to experience the Gulf Coast, whomever you might be, especially if you are from a landlocked state such as Tennessee, Arkansas, or other such states. I would definitely recommend Dauphin Island as one of your various destinations, because I felt that they had some of the friendliest people I had ever met. But then again, that might be some of the southern hospitality, perhaps. You will also enjoy the quiet as compared to other places such as Gulf Shores or Orange Beach, which are quite more crowded than Dauphin Island, but I don't want to favor anything over the other. So, all in all, I rather enjoyed this trip. It was a much-needed trip and a very relaxing trip. So, as I always say, if you guys like this video, you guys can thumbs up the video, thumbs down the video, comment on the video, whatever you'd like to do. And I will see you guys in the next video.